It may actually be that I'm having that recurring negative thought because it's running on a neural pathway that's so well reinforced that it's just simply easier to travel on. It doesn't mean it's more true. It just means it's freaking easier to travel on. That's insane. Tuning means strengthening the connections between neurons, particularly connections that are used frequently or are important for budgeting the resources of your body, water, salt, glucose, and so on. If we think again of neurons as little trees, tuning means that the branch-like dendrites become bushier. So it's not just strengthening the connections between existing dendrites between neurons. It's growing new dendrites that create new connections. Both are actually happening when we say strengthening connections. It also means that the trunk-like axon develops a thicker coating of myelin, a fatty bark that's like the insulation around electrical wires, which makes signals travel faster. Well-tuned connections are more efficient at carrying and processing information than poorly tuned ones, and are therefore more likely to be reused in the future. This is the energy Scrooge principle. So this is why when I have a habit, I default back to that habit. Not because it's necessarily good for me. It could be a very bad habit. It's that it's more energy efficient for my brain to execute or run along that particular neural pathway. Now, I don't know about you, but that's that's all my brain's up to. It's like, oh, so it's easier to travel down that neural pathway. And so you're going to engage in this habit that's not aligned with my goals. It's like, whoa, we need to have a conversation, yeah, brain. We need to talk because, hey, I've got different priorities than you, clearly. You just want to take the easy road. I have goals and values and dreams that I want to do with my life. Again, this is important because to depersonalize and normalize the why we fall back into bad habits changes how people understand themselves, and it takes out all the stigma and the self-loathing and all the negative self-talk. This is why when I talk about limiting self-beliefs and limiting self-talk, I'm like, we got to get to neuroplasticity. We've got to get to neuroplasticity because if we don't, we're having this kind of war with ourselves with our own self-limiting beliefs. It's like, well, let's get a little deeper into the root cause here of what's actually going on. It may actually be that I'm having that recurring negative thought because it's running on a neural pathway that's so well reinforced that it's just simply easier to travel on. It doesn't mean it's more true. It just means it's freaking easier to travel on. That's insane that our brains do that. No, it's not insane, but it's like, what? Whoa, talk about poking holes in the feeling of realness of those limiting beliefs. It's like, oh, that's what you're up to. I'm not worthy. I'm unlovable. So that I run on that track, and it's not an indication, the fact that it comes up so frequently isn't an indication of its truthiness. It's an indication that it's running on a well-worn path. And that it runs on that path because it's easiest mental narrative to run around when something negative happens in my life. It's like, if that happens, then that loop starts. And again, this is also what people are up against when they start new neural pathways. It's a larger energy expenditure. So they got to know that. If they don't know that, they're going to be like, they're going to think this is going to be easy. We're going to the mental gym, people. This is hard. It's going to take a lot of energy. And everything in you is going to want to take you back to those old habits. And some of those old habits might not be bad habits. Some of them good habits. Again, your brain is habit agnostic. Why is it habit agnostic? Why doesn't it care if it's good or bad for you? Because it actually cares about energy conservation. That's its operating principle. It's like, does this spend less energy or more energy? And I'm going to run on that neural pathway. Thanks so much for checking us out. Be sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below for more free brain hacks. And don't forget to check out our course, The Brain Science Advantage, in the link below. Until next time.